If you were to ask the average classic WoW fan about their favorite in-game mysteries or secrets, chances are the infamous Karazhan crypts would make the list. A massive underground complex with no NPCs or quests, just eerie hallways and abandoned chambers with a few terrifying scenes to uncover within. Locked away in the south of Deadwind Pass, it's a fan-favorite location for out-of-bounds exploration, and was even adapted into a 5-player dungeon near the end of Season of Discovery. The crypts are a spot we all know and love, as is Karazhan itself, once the Tower of the Wizard Medivh, now cursed, warped, and occupied by many dark powers. But there are more pieces to this puzzle than first meet the eye, and today, I want to cover a part of Deadwind Pass that has been in the game since the very beginning, but is often overlooked even with its official introduction in the Burning Crusade. Today, we're investigating the haunted Cellars of Karazhan, the forgotten cousins of the Karazhan crypts that also hide many secrets in their shadows. As always, thank you for the fun comments and support, and with all that being said, let's get right into it. In Vanilla WoW, there is nothing official to do in Deadwind Pass, unless you're a mage farming ogres in the Vice or something. The only reason you might come here is to fill out the world map. Karazhan is of course the main landmark, surrounded by a small derelict village and chapel, and the entrance to the crypts at an area known as Morgan's Plot. Unliving spirits of the former peasants who once lived here patrol the ruined houses, but as I said, they're not useful in terms of quests or items. The ruins might seem typical, like those found in Duskwood or Westfall or any other place where human settlement has gone awry, but there is an exception to be found here, and a unique one at that. 2 staircases leading down into the darkness below the earth, one on either side of the village road that splits off right near the main gate. Collectively, these 2 underground anomalies are known as the Master's Cellar, the Master being the Wizard Medivh who all these peasants worked for back in the day. Let's focus on the Eastern Cellar first. Barrels of wine and other beverages line the cobwebbed walls, and the staircase guides you down into a large chamber with a number of small alcoves. I'm not sure what this central trough is for. Maybe it has to do with winemaking, but I'm not sure. To the north, a single chamber contains some gigantic barrels, perhaps stashes of drink that need to be aged or stored for longer periods of time. But the southern tunnel is even more interesting. Wine racks line the walls, and a large storage area with a well and this cool ramp feature can be found at the end. The final secret I want to mention here is the fallen support beam partway down the hall. You might think it's just a bit of decoration, but you can actually climb up the beam into the ceiling and walk around up here. This has to be one of the weirdest liminal spots in the entire game, and really how many times can you say you've been in the attic of a basement? Very weird, but also very cool. The Western Cellar is a different story, but it's still swarming with ghosts and shades. It begins similarly, with a staircase descending into another wine storage area, but you find that the floor has fallen into an expansive cave system below. This has rendered a chunk of the cellar, and therefore the couple of NPCs who dwell over there, completely inaccessible, unless you're a rogue with sprint who can jump over to one of the tiny ledges. Down in the cave, there's not much to find other than the ghosts mindlessly exploring this new domain, but there are some curious similarities to other caverns you may have seen before. Check out this tunnel, central area, and pool. Here's the same tunnel, central area, and pool in Shalzaru's lair in Feraless. And here's another example at Tide's Hollow on the Draenei starting zone of Azure Mist Isle, one of my personal favorite caves ever designed. They have a lot of the same DNA, but each one has unique characteristics or dead ends when compared to the others, which go a long way in giving us that immersive variety that's always appreciated on Azeroth. I personally find it difficult to decide which of the former 2 came first, but seeing as we hear a lot about how Kalimdor was designed near the end of the production process, it's very possible this Karazhan cave went on to be used as a template for all the other examples later down the line. Quite the legacy for a tunnel system that in vanilla is just a random spot for ghosts to call home. I next want to tackle something that I thought at first was a major discovery in the game files, but in reality is probably much more straightforward. Looking at the names of the two Cellar models, we have Human Ruined Buildings Small 01 Wine Cellar and Human Ruined Building Collapsed. Both of these models are listed in the zone folder Arathi Highlands, which got me thinking, were these wine cellars originally planned to be in that zone? Maybe in the ruined city of Stromgarde? It's possible, but unfortunately, I don't think there was supposed to be a cool Arathi wine cellar for two reasons. One, WoW models of a given type are almost always kept in their original folder after creation, even if they were copied to different zones and modified to create new versions. It's just more convenient from a file saving perspective. 2, the original textures of the Cellars are not labeled as being originally from Arathi or Lordaeron, but are instead a part of KZN, Karazhan. The most likely answer is that the houses near Karazhan were copied from Duskwood or Arathi and placed here, and then some of these structures were saved as new versions of those buildings after modifications, giving us the Master's Cellar. To end on today, I want to expand our view a bit to include the content that was added here in the Burning Crusade. Early versions of Karazhan already existed in the game files during vanilla, which would explain why the Master's Cellar was able to borrow textures from the inside of the tower before it was released at the start of TBC. You can still see quite a bit of resemblance in parts of the raid, like the servants' quarters on the bottom level. It's even possible these cellars were going to be a part of the raid itself, or an alternate entrance into the tower, but we can't say for sure what their original purpose may have been. In TBC, a group of Kirintor mages known as the Violet Eye arrive at Karazhan to study and investigate the magical anomalies found here, and Archmage Alterus at the main gate has 2 quests for you that take you into the Cellars. These begin the attunement quest line for Karazhan, which ends with you acquiring the key needed to enter the tower. If you're a raider in TBC, you've probably done these quests at some point. The first is to collect ghostly essences from the spirits wandering around, now adjusted for the new level cap of 70, and the second is to collect readings of arcane energy at the 2 underground water sources. If you think back to our tour, these are the well in the wine cellar, and the pond in the cave system. If you look closely, you might even be able to see a tiny ripple that's actually a result of the invisible quest marker NPC. Anyway, once you complete these 2 steps, Alterus says the following, sending you on your path toward unlocking Karazhan and its many mysteries. These readings do not bode well. Karazhan should be emanating all manner of arcane currents. Instead, it has become a huge energy vacuum. No signals, nothing, except for a very faint demonic echo. This is bad news. A sinister omen of things to come, and maybe in the future I'll have to do a deep dive on all things Karazhan. The Master's Cellar is significant for one final reason. It is one of the only open world places on all of Old Azeroth that was adjusted and given a purpose in the Burning Crusade. 2 large underground structures that existed back in vanilla, complete with their own NPCs, finally relevant with the release of the nearby raid. Just something to think about as we move closer to a new era of WoW, and of course TBC Anniversary is live right now to re-experience and enjoy. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look at these other Karazhan crypts, and maybe next time you're doing your attunement, you'll look at this area in a whole new way. A special thank you to my channel members who provide bonus support for these videos, and until next time, may the Force be with you.